Hello and welcome to the big picture. The election year brings with it its own dynamics when it comes to politics, and one of the features of it is confrontation. The confrontation gets sharper as political parties try to outdo each other and sell themselves to the electorate. However, in all these years that this country has witnessed elections, political parties have always maintained a certain degree of protocol when it comes to the observance of national days like Independence Day and Republic Day. The chief ministers and prime ministers have almost never crossed the line on such occasions to use them politically against their political rivals. Propagation of their own achievements, plans and programs they intend to implement, general thoughts on the situation prevailing in their states or in the country is what is expected and also has been generally adhered to. However, this Independence Day turned out to be a dramatic departure from well-established traditions when one chief minister took on the prime minister and the Congress party and its governments as part of his Independence Day address and indulged in harsh criticisms. Many have felt that such a speech is fit for a political rally and not for an Independence Day address, while some argue that times have changed and one has to accept it. Many questions have cropped up following Narendra Modi's departure from tradition, which includes the issues of federalism and its needs. We will discuss all this today while asking the question, what is the limit when it comes to the politics of confrontation? To discuss this, I have with me Professor Balveer Arora, a political science professor from the Center for Political Studies in the JNU, Pawan K. Verma, a former diplomat and a well-known author, Shoma Chaudhary, managing editor, Tehelka magazine, and on the phone line from Bombay is Seshadri Chari of the BJP. Welcome to all of you. So first let me go to Mr. Chari. Mr. Chari, you think that the political discourse in this country on such occasions as national days like Independence Day and Republic Day has changed forever after what happened yesterday?
No, I don't think heavens have fallen yesterday. The political discourse of this country has been changed long back. In 1975, when emergency was introduced in the country, the political discourse of the country changed. So, we should also remember that all the speeches on the 15th August from Red Fort have been to enumerate the achievements of the government of the day. And I would have really expected the Prime Minister to make exactly the speech which Mr. Modi made. The Prime Minister listed all the Prime Ministers before him from 1947 to 2013. But he very sadly missed out not only Atal Bihari Vajpayee, but also Lal Bahadur Shastri, who gave this slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. And then he went on to list all the ills that the government is facing today. And then he never appealed for all the political parties to come on board and work together for the country. That is the kind of speech the Prime Minister should have made on 15th August.
Mr. Chari, I fully give it to you that you have these remarks about the speech, but do you think it was up to a chief minister of one state to challenge the speech on a day when he is supposed to be addressing his state on the Independence Day? That is the question.
See, he did address his state on the Independence Day. His speech was about Gujarat, and he very rightly said, if all the districts of Gujarat don't progress, Gujarat cannot progress. That is exactly what was expected of the Prime Minister to say. If all the states cannot progress collectively, India cannot progress. I expected the Prime Minister to really make the speech which Mr. Modi made.
That's fair enough. You expected the Chief Prime Minister to say certain things, but the question now is, whether the Chief Minister should have said what he said. I'll come back to you. Let me go to Pawan Verma here. Pawan Verma, you think that Mr. Chari says that he expected the Prime Minister to say what the Chief Minister of Gujarat said yesterday. You think that this kind of a discourse, especially this kind of speeches on Independence Day by a Chief Minister, can create some kind of a discord in the entire federal setup we have in this country?
Well, the way I see it, the Prime Minister has traditionally made a political speech from the Red Fort.
Right.
He has done so to list the achievements of his government and on many occasions to also point out the pitfalls or the flaws in policies either being pursued or advocated by others. So there is no written law that his speech enjoys immunity from criticism.
Absolutely.
It is a convention.
Right.
That for this customary exercise where the Prime Minister addresses the nation from the ramparts of the Red Fort, while it is open season to criticize it, one does not set up a chief ministerial speech in direct confrontation to it immediately afterwards.
Right.
Now that is a matter of self-restraint or reticence or a certain acceptance of conventions. But I don't believe Mr. Modi is particularly concerned about such factors.
Okay. So you think that, he's quite a different person. He doesn't stick to traditions. Yes. Let me get Professor Arora in this. Professor Balveer Arora, you think that this departure from tradition which has happened yesterday, almost for the first time, do you agree that it is for the first time that such a departure from tradition has happened? And do you think that this is going to be the tradition from now onwards?
Well, this is an unusual situation and it is unprecedented. The immunity from criticism is normally only for the head of state, that's the president. The head of government was given this as a courtesy, as a convention, as Mr. Verma said.
Yes.
But what is happening now is that you have in this federal polity chief ministers who are projecting themselves, who are in a hurry to project themselves as prime ministerial candidates.
Right.
So they are using every platform to try and further their political ambitions. And in this case, what comes to mind is the self-anointment. If you recall Napoleon's coronation, he took the crown and placed it on himself. So this is in a sense, the nation is not impatient, the nation is not in a hurry, but the candidate seems to be in a big hurry.
Right. Professor Arora, my question is this, the whole question, the whole debate or controversy, if you like, of this is about the platform which was used. I mean, nobody argues here that the chief minister of any state of a rival party cannot criticize the prime minister or his speech or what he says. It is the platform which was used yesterday which has become the matter of debate, right?
Yes, you are absolutely right. The Independence Day speech is a ceremonial speech. There is a parade and there is all the paraphernalia of the state. It's a solemn state function. But what is happening is that politics as a spectacle, politics as Mr. Modi is not the first time he is disregarding conventions. He has been wanting a duel for a long time. Initially, the media projected him as having a duel with Rahul Gandhi, but that did not materialize. Rahul Gandhi did not bite. Now he is looking for another adversary, because that is the whole purpose, to try and find a platform of a clash of personalities, which is not really in the parliamentary tradition. It's more in the American presidential tradition, where they have this kind of thing.
Mr. Seshadri Chari,
Yes.
do you agree that the question now is only about the platform which was used yesterday? And as I said earlier, and as other guests also saying, there is no immunity from criticism for a prime minister, because except the president, no one is immune from criticism. But only it's a problem of the platform.
I don't think it was a problem of the platform also, and I don't think even this platform has any immunity against criticism. If it was a personal criticism of the Prime Minister, I would have probably agreed with Mr. Pawan Verma, who has a long experience as a diplomat.
Right.
But I don't think Mr. Pawan Verma is very right in saying that the 15th August speeches have always been traditionally political, and we have not been able to keep the Prime Minister's post above politics.
No,
And therefore, I don't see any particular sanctity as far as the 15th August speech is concerned. I do remember there have been speeches before on 15th August by some chief ministers who have had serious differences with the central government, and they have aired these views exactly on the 15th August. I don't want to take your time of all your guests and your viewers, but just go through the speeches made by the Chief Minister of West Bengal, Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu on earlier occasions.
Okay.
There have been references to the Prime Minister. Therefore, in keeping with the sanctity of the 15th August of the Independence Day, what Mr. Modi has really done is to draw a parallel between the thinking of the Congress party and his own personal thinking. I don't say it is the thinking of the BJP.
It's not the thinking of the BJP, it is his own thinking, because obviously your most venerable leader, Mr. L.K. Advani, didn't seem to be too happy with what happened yesterday. I'll come back to you, Mr. Pawan Verma, since you have been mentioned by Mr. Chari. Would you like to respond?
No, when I said that it's a political speech, I agree with Professor Arora that the head of state, the President of India, when he makes a speech, it is by convention above the fray. The Prime Minister has always made a political speech from the ramparts of the Red Fort and is therefore open to critique that may follow.
Absolutely.
What happened in this case was not a question of critiquing what the Prime Minister said. It was like a presidential debate which Mr. Modi chose to set up.
Right.
And there was, in the whole theatrical staging of it, more a rebuttal to what the Prime Minister had said just a few minutes earlier.
Right.
And of course, using the media as an address to the nation in exactly the same way as the Prime Minister.
Right.
And in many ways, it was an unfair competition because as far as eloquence goes, even the most avid supporters of Dr. Manmohan Singh will accept that he's not a very inspiring speaker.
Right.
He was even reading from a text.
Right.
And secondly, it is also true that it's much easier to punch holes in an incumbent government's record than it is for the person who's in the government to defend it.
Absolutely.
So Mr. Modi in that sense had a field day.
Right.
But this should not be, even though it was probably purported to be, a kind of presidential debate, a debate. Because the questions that needed to be asked to Mr. Modi, in the same manner that he asked to the Prime Minister,
Right.
could not be asked.
Right. So it was an uneven and a debate which was not really on level. There was no level playing field. You're trying to say.
Certainly, there was no level playing field because Mr. Modi has rhetorical flourishes.
Okay.
Okay. When you compare that to our current Prime Minister,
Absolutely.
But he has limitations on that score.
Anyway,
and also there was no speech after Mr. Modi to question some of the claims he made.
Absolutely. I'll come back to you, Mr. Verma. I think we have Shoma. Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Shoma, how do you see this whole drama which happened yesterday? Is it something, tradition says, protocol says that all these years that such things don't happen. A chief minister doesn't use the platform of an Independence Day address to, challenge the way he did yesterday. But do you think that times are changing and we need to get used to this?
Yeah, I think it was a terrible impropriety, and unfortunately, everything in our public life is going down the drain. We do need propriety in public life. You do need to keep up with certain traditions. And yes, it was a crossing of boundaries, and I think a lot of people were uncomfortable with it. But having said that, I think what we saw yesterday was the singular failure of leadership across the board in India, because what we saw is a Prime Minister that has eroded the entire idea of being a Prime Minister. He has eroded the Prime Minister's seat, and we have a contender for Prime Ministership who has no sense of propriety of public life. And yes, you know, he's a new kind of energy on the political landscape, but I'm not sure how positive that energy is, because if we continue to forget every kind of propriety of public life, then it's a symptom of, you know, just how much further you can let things slide.
Right.
But Prime Minister Manmohan Singh himself has a lot to answer for, so one can't exonerate him from that.
Well, but that is not the question at all. You know, the question is about what are the limits one sets when we indulge, when we talk of, you know, political rivalry or, you know, confrontation, which is accepted in any politics. I'll come back to you, Shoma. Professor Arora, you know, the question some people are asking is, today if one chief minister of one state starts doing this, and if all the chief ministers of all the opposition ruled states, and increasingly in this country there are different chief ministers ruling from different parties in different states, so what would happen if these kind of platforms, National Day platforms, are used for attacking the government in power at the center?
Well, attacking the policies of the center, I think chief ministers have in the past, as it was pointed out,
Yes.
stated their state's position with regard to central policies.
Right. Yesterday, I think yesterday even Nitish Kumar made that point in his speech.
When he asked for special status and so on,
Right.
demands have been put forward, grievances have been put forward, and I think that is perfectly in order, because it is a federal system and the state's point of view is articulated through these speeches, just as the national point of view is articulated by the Prime Minister from the ramparts of the Red Fort. Now the issue that is coming up, which is really more important, because I think no political leader is immune from criticism.
Absolutely.
But it looked as if it had become a duel where the Prime Minister, either directly or indirectly, was mentioned rather than the government, its policies, or its the differences that the state might have on specific issues.
Right.
So what we are looking at is a different objective. It is not projecting the state's point of view, but projecting a person, a personality, in order to gain acceptance, in order to gain recognition as the prime candidate for the upcoming elections, gain acceptance, gain recognition, and this is part of a broader plan where international recognition also comes in, international acceptance comes in, as the UK MP have invited Mr. Modi abroad. So basically it is to somehow convey the impression that he is the person who is the challenger in this election, even though his party has not officially anointed him.
Yeah. Okay, let me get Mr. Chari in on this. Mr. Chari, don't you agree with what Professor Arora says? One thing. Second is, don't you think Mr. Modi gained an unfair advantage over other leaders of your own party when he used this kind of a platform? Not many leaders in your party can use this kind of platforms.
See, let us. I am all for glorifying the post of the Prime Minister of this country, provided that person also lives up to that glory and he deserves it. Very unfortunately, I am not faulting this Prime Minister on his oratorial skills. There are many people in many political parties who are not great orators. But the most important question here is, if as the Prime Minister you choose to make 15th August speech a political speech, and that too when your government is on the last leg of its term, when this is touted as probably the last speech of the Prime Minister, of this individual as Prime Minister.
Last speech
And
on Independence Day.
Last Independence Day speech of Mr. Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister. This
Yes.
is what one editorial in a very well-known
Yes,
English daily also
as far as
said.
this term is
And
concerned,
I'm
this
still
term is
saying-
concerned.
I'm still saying probably. I'm
Yes.
still saying probably.
Right.
And then he chooses to make an absolutely 100% political speech, giving out what his party has done so far and what needs to be done ahead.
Is there?
When
Do you have
has
any
this
objection,
advantage.
Mr. Chari?
When
Do you have any
he
objection?
has this advantage.
No, Mr. Chari, do you have any objection to that? Every Prime Minister who has spoken from the ramparts of the Red Fort has done that. He's not done anything new yesterday.
Then he should also be ready to accept the criticism. He and his party should be ready to accept the criticism from anybody, not only the chief minister of one particular state, but any chief minister of any state.
I'm sure. No,
To
Mr.
use
Chari,
that
Mr.
platform
Chari,
which
I'm
is
sure.
available to him.
No, Mr. Chari, I'm sure the Congress, whether it's Congress party or the government, I'm sure they cannot complain if anybody criticizes the Prime Minister's speech. But the question is where and who and how. Anyway, let me get Mr. Pawan Verma in on this. Mr. Pawan Verma, would you like to react to what Mr. Chari is saying?
No, I do not disagree with Mr. Chari when he says, a good friend of mine, that the Prime Minister's speech, if it is political, is open to criticism, discussion and debate. The real issue that is happening, why is this set off different from other occasions?
Right.
It is different because a chief minister of one state who has ambitions and aspirations to occupy the helm of the government in the future chose to take upon himself
Right.
the onus of planning and, in a sense, setting up a speech which was in direct response to the Prime Minister's speech.
Right.
I sometimes wonder if somebody else within the BJP could have perhaps thought that they deserve to do it more than him, because he's after all the chief minister of a state and there are leaders at the national level.
Right.
But that apart, that is what made this different.
Absolutely. That is the only point of debate. And let me get Shoma in. Shoma, I would like you to dwell a little bit on this, on the issue on the media, how the media reacted to all these things. You think that the media overplayed the whole thing? You think the media had no other option but to do what it did yesterday?
Actually, the relationship between Modi and the media is quite fascinating because both feed upon each other.
Right.
And Mr. Modi, at this moment, of course, electoral politics will prove it right or wrong. But at this moment, he's very much a media creation. Every time he speaks, it's absolutely national news. There are other chief ministers who perform as well, who might speak, who might critique the PM, but they're never positioned in the way that Mr. Modi is. And so definitely he's at this moment a very fascinating media creation. And if the media had chosen, he's perfectly within his rights to give a speech from Lalan College.
Right.
But if the media was not broadcasting it as a national address, it would not become a national address.
Right.
And again, my point here is that Mr. Manmohan Singh has a lot to answer for. And when one defends the proprieties of public life, it is not to defend Mr. Manmohan Singh.
Absolutely.
It is to defend the chair of the Prime Minister.
Absolutely.
And right now what we are witnessing, just to make my point again, are two men who have denigrated the Prime Minister's chair. The sitting PM and somebody who, at least in his own eyes, contends to be the PM. They have both collectively eroded the sanctity of the Prime Minister's chair on Independence Day. On any other day, of course, the Prime Minister is up for any kind of criticism.
Shoma, when you say that the Prime Minister has denigrated the chair, the sitting Prime Minister, what do you mean by that? Yesterday, when you say that yesterday,
What I mean by that is that
record.
Mr. Manmohan Singh has singularly eroded. He has singularly eroded the efficacy of being a Prime Minister. He does not address the nation at most times. He does not take collective responsibility at most times. You know, his track record has been to preserve his personal credibility rather than his government's credibility.
Okay, I mean,
and
these
those
are all
the reasons why he's actually created a vacuum.
Absolutely.
For,
I mean, these are all
created a vacuum for a political character like Narendra Modi to get the eminence that he has got.
Shoma, these are all fair criticisms, all right. But let me get Professor Arora in on this. Professor Arora, do you agree with Shoma when she says this? And, you know, don't you think the issue is the larger issue of how do you deal with these kind of, you know, on these kind of occasions? What are the kind of protocols, what are the kind of traditions which needs to be followed?
Well, conventions, protocol, traditions is one thing. I think if we are to read meaning into what these two speeches represented, Mr. Manmohan Singh as Prime Minister will have to answer for his record later.
Absolutely.
When the election comes, all that Shoma Chaudhary is saying is absolutely right, is that he has a lot to answer for. But Independence Day is not the occasion to answer for his record of the last 9 years. This is an occasion where you celebrate, there is a lot of ceremony attached, but I think more than that, the meaning that I attach to this is the way in which it was used as part of an effort which has been going on for some time to launch the campaign. And that campaign would not get launched, and I think Shoma again is right on that, unless the media made it a spectacle. They have their own compulsions, they have their own viewer ratings, but Modi is profiting or is benefiting from this fact and using it to the maximum advantage. You can't blame him, he's a politician.
Absolutely. Mr. Chari, last words to you. Mr. Chari, my question is, don't you think that you have chief ministers in other states, your own party has chief ministers in other states? Don't you think that, you know, don't you see it quite unusual that only Modi decided to take on the Prime Minister's speech and all other chief ministers stuck to what is usually done?
No, I think
whether it is Shivraj Singh Chauhan or Raman Singh.
No. Even Mr. Nitish Kumar. I include
Yes.
Mr. Nitish Kumar also as one of the successful chief ministers in this country. And every chief minister is free to put forward the views of his state, his party.
No, nobody is denying that.
And also criticize the Prime Minister,
Right.
even in his 15th August speech, because I don't see any great sanctity being attached to 15th August speech, because I have heard Prime Ministers earlier,
Okay,
Prime
that
Minister
we've
like
done
Mr. Narasimha Rao and Prime Minister like Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee are calling for
Mr.
consensus.
Mr. Chari, I think you have made a point clear, but I only wonder why Mr. Advani had to say what he said yesterday. Mr. Pawan Verma, very quick last words to you. Mr. Chari says that there is no, there is nothing, no lines have been crossed. So do you think that this is what we will be seeing in the future more often?
If the Prime Minister, if the Prime Minister is speaking about Ghalib or about films, the Prime Minister can claim that a political attack on his position as Prime Minister and the record of his government is not justified.
Right.
But he is making a political speech. He is entitled to receive critical comment. The point is not that. The point is that if we had a convention that the Prime Minister makes a speech and the leader of the opposition
Right.
makes a speech as a rebuttal,
Right,
one could understand it.
right.
I think the nation is perplexed how a chief minister of an individual state set up the entire matter
Right.
in a kind of direct rebuttal of the Prime Minister,
Right.
over and above many other leaders of his own party and chief ministers of his party who are in other states, as representing a kind of presidential debate.
Absolutely.
That is the question.
That is the question.
Which I think the BJP also must think about.
Okay, Shoma, last words to you very quickly. This kind of a presidential debate being set up, is this healthy for this country in a parliamentary democracy?
It's not a question of whether it's healthy, it's the presumption of it. And as I said already, the complete loss of propriety, there is a convention, and if conventions have to be overturned, if we want a presidential style election, there are other ways of going around it. In any case, Mr. Modi has positioned himself as a kind of presidential face-off.
Right.
But the fact that his own party members, Mr. Advani's discomfort with it was also made very apparent.
Yes.
And I think, again, as I'm saying right now, we are not assessing the two leaders. What we're really assessing is the loss of propriety and convention. And I think that's a loss for the country.
Absolutely. On that note, I think we need to end loss of propriety for the country itself. There are certain limits which all of us everybody needs to follow. But unfortunately, as most of my panelists said, it has been crossed. But whether this is going to be just an one-off thing or this is going to become a pattern, we'll have to wait and watch. Thanks to all my guests, Shoma Chaudhary, Sheshadri Chari, Pawan K. Verma, and Professor Balveer Arora. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue in the big picture, same time on Monday. Meanwhile, have a great weekend.